to have you join us on the program Perspective on ITV. On this program, I will bring you a variety of issues, topical issues, of course, with profiling solutions. My name is Chuka Onguhai. Last week, we were here on this program. Of course, this week, we're back here. On this week's episode, I will be looking at expectations after the Supreme Court judgment. What are the expectations? And of course, expectations are high, as well as hopes are also high for so many individuals out there. With me in the studio this afternoon, today, to discuss this issue is no other than Honorable Usman Adaji. Is a political analyst, as well as the spokesperson for FCT APC here in Abuja. Welcome to the program, sir.
It's nice having me here again.
So let's get your opinion, sir. The Supreme Court judgment, or let's look at the Election Petitions Tribunal all the way down to the Supreme Court, Supreme Court judgment that went down last week. So expectations are high, so even prior to the judgment. But as it stands now, the verdict have been given, and of course, the candidature of the president stands as the president of the country. Now, let's get your view, as in what you think. Nigerians' expectations are hopes are high, or expectations are high. What is your take? Let's look at the judgment first of all. What's your take as it concerns the judgment that went down for quite some time?
All right. Thank you very much, Chuka. First and foremost, I want to start by, some people may not be comfortable with me congratulating the president, but of course I have to congratulate the president, I have to congratulate Nigerians. Reasons being that if this judgment had gone the other way, we would have been in again for another struggle. So that is why I'm congratulating Nigeria, that the country, at least with this judgment, has brought the country to a fairly stable position, because we already know that there are no litigations, there are no issues against the sitting presidents. Whether you are for the sitting president or you are against the sitting president, the fact remains now that we know who the president of the country is, going by that verdict and that judgment that was given last week. Now, looking at the judgment itself, it is not possible for you to have a case in court. Of course, somebody must have taken the case in court, and of course, whoever took the case in court do have a lot of followers. It is expected that followers of the petitioner will not in any way be comfortable with the judgment if it does not go their way. So long as the judgment does not go the way of the petitioner, it is queried, it is questioned, the fairness in the judgment will be questioned, the credibility of the judgment definitely will be questioned. But if it has gone the way of the petitioner, of course, the petitioner would have been comfortable and appraising the judges, appraising the court, the Nigerian courts, and so on. It's normal. But looking at the judgment with every fairness, the judgment, the last judgment was a Supreme Court judgment. The Supreme Court is not a court of evidence. It's not a court where you come to present witnesses and present evidence. That was expected to have been done at the lower court before it got to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was expected to do exactly what they have done. Look at the merits of that judgment. Look at vis-a-vis how it was given, whether there were issues with that judgment or otherwise. If found that it was done in good faith, what they do is uphold the judgment, and that's exactly what they did. Now, a lot of people queried the issue of the Chicago State University result. Why was it not admitted? Of course, it wouldn't have been admitted. There was a 21 days of filing of court processes that was supposed to have been done. There was 180 days through which the petitioner and every other person was supposed to have presented their evidence, and everything that was in that guise would have been done. Now, having done that at that level, if the petitioner knew, or the petitioners, as the case may be, knew that there were cases associated with the credibility of the credentials of the president, it was expected that they would have done their homework, they would have, of course, gotten all their necessary evidence and presented it far earlier than the time it was presented. So, you wouldn't expect the court to be admitting evidences at the Supreme Court. Having said this, I want to say in Clayton that, to be fair to the judges, that judgment was done in good faith.
A couple of persons have talked about, prior to now, issues of political power being in power, and of course having a judgment that tends to abroad a particular power that's already that be. The issue we are talking about here is in our context here, this part of the world, persons say it's very difficult to upturn an election that won.
The person has been sworn in.
Yeah, especially when you have a political party, a formidable political party like the APC. So, what's your take on the upturning
a sitting president?
Yes.
Let me tell you in very clear terms. I don't know why we have forgotten so solid as Nigerians. Our democratic process is getting better by day. We are moving from what it used to be to what we think it should be. We may not have been there now. Let me take you back quickly. The judgment between President Muhammadu Buhari, the immediate past president, and that of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, in the first tenure, took almost a year plus, if you remember, before that judgment was given. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it went to almost a year, 6 months or even more before the judgment was given at Appeal Court. At Supreme Court. Now, with the Electoral Act and with the number of days given for judgment to be given, that is allowable for the judges to sit on the case and determine the case, what we have now is, we had the government, the election came in just in March, February, March, yeah. The swearing in was done in May, and by October, all cases that has to do with that from appeal to Supreme have been done and dusted. That means the process is getting better. What it means is that we will get to a point, as we continue to evolve, we will get to a point where cases will be decided even before the date for the swearing in. We are going to get there. So I am appealing to Nigerians that we should continue to agitate for a better process of administering judicial issues when it comes to election tribunal. Considering the number of days that the election is to be filed, when it was to be looked at, and how the judgment was to be given prior to the swearing in of whatever candidate, from the local government elections to the governorship election to the presidential election and so on. National Assembly election to the presidential election. Now, secondly, I also want you to look at it. If you look at when the former president was on throne, it took us months for the president to appoint ministers. But the Electoral Act has been able to take care of that now, to the extent that the president has a certain number of days within which he should appoint his ministers. Otherwise, it would have been a breach of the guideline, of the electoral guideline. And the president has no choice, no reason not to work within the ambit of that provision. And that has been done. So that is to tell you that we are getting better than what we used to be.
Where we used to be.
Where we used to be. So I am hopeful, very, very hopeful, that as we move on, the system will continue to work stronger and stronger and better.
Okay, let's look at the issue of the expectations. What Nigerians are hopeful, and of course high expectations. What the president talked about having to the Supreme Court's judgment bringing about more confidence, and bringing about putting the whole issue behind, and of course looking ahead. What do you think the president should first of all now handle so many issues as it concerns issues of economic downturn, and of course there's so many issues as it concerns Nigerians being so much, let me be impoverished as it stands now. We have things are not going well. But what will be, the hopes are high. What should be the next?
What should be our expectations?
Yeah, well, what do you expect the president to tackle almost immediately?
Well, for me, it is always good for us to give people the benefit of the doubt. The president has been elected. Whether you were part of those that elected him or not, so long as you're in Nigeria, domiciled in this very country, and in your living in this country, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as it stands today, recognized worldwide, is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There is no ambiguity, no question of whether or not here. Now, the next thing we need to do is to give him the benefit of the doubt. How do we do this? Let us put the president to task. the president has charged all his ministers that you must deliver. There is a mandate that the president is asking all the ministers to work with and deliver within that mandate. What are those things? The Renew Hope agenda. What the Renew Hope agenda means is the issue of security, the issue of economy, the issue of agriculture, education, and all whatnot are all contained in the Renew Hope agenda. And the president has charged all his appointees, from the SS, even from the PS, through the SS, for everybody that can stand and serve as the image of the president, and of course serves this country, having been appointed by the president, he has charged them that the Renew Hope agenda must be, the word is must be adhered to strictly. And the ministers are not unmindful of this. They are on their toes. A lot of competitions among the ministers. They are doing everything possible to ensure that they deliver that mandate with reference to their ministry. The Minister of Education is doing everything possible to make sure that the Minister of Education is far better than the message. If possible, take it to the level that the Nigerians are yearning for it to be. That of Agriculture is doing the same thing. The Minister of Women Affairs is on top of again, changing the narratives, ensuring that foreign donors brings money, everybody brings money into the country. You are bringing this money, let the money not just be on only advocacy or on meetings and so on. Let this money also be translated into empowering women, into empowering the less privileged. That is what she's advocating. That means the narratives are changing. The time that monies will be brought or funds will be brought and then shared among very few persons is gone. That is what, or these are the things that the ministers are saying. The funds that are meant for the ministry, the ministry's budgets, other funds that could be generated through IGR or through other means must be judiciously be put into use. And that is for me a hope. That is for me that to tell you that Nigeria will be better. Now, what do we mean by this? The president came in just in May. We are today in October, moving gradually into November. We need to give the president and all his appointees some benefits of the doubt, some time for us to see what they will begin to unfold or they will begin to bring to the table as time goes by.
Looking at the issues of appointment, a couple of persons also have talked about the left-sided appointments being one-sided. But let's look at the issue of appointments and look at the issue of competence and delivery. What's your take as it concerns appointments, and what should be your primary advice for those appointees, those ministers or assistants?
Well, talking about lopsidedness, everybody is entitled to his or her opinion. It all depends on how you look at it. This is not the first time Nigerians will cry for lopsided appointments. It happened during the time of Obasanjo. Tom Watt is appointing people from the southwest. He's just appointing his friends, appointing well-wishers and so on. We left there. We came to the government of President Muhammadu Buhari through the Goodluck's appointment. It was, in fact, it was during Goodluck that fairly to an extent, I can use the word to an extent, Tonks didn't want as much as it was in the past. But even at that, it was said that appointments were lopsided. In fact, if it is not by the zone the president comes from, it is that he's giving appointments to his friends, or it is that he's giving appointments to the older ones, or it is that they can cap it under whatever names Nigeria is so with, and then paint it that way. Now, if you talk about lopsidedness of appointment, to an extent I may agree with you. To another extent I may say there is no issue of lopsidedness here. Now, where do I tend to agree with you? Where people say these appointments are mainly from the southwest. Now, you cannot judge appointments from the ministerial nominations, nor judge appointments from possibly the director generals. There are so many appointments that are yet to be given. Too many of them. If you remember, the president dissolved all the boards and agencies as soon as he came in. Even in FCT, it did happen. So that means so many openings. You have not even gone 30% of the appointments that are waiting to be done. That means it is too early in the day for us to know whether the appointments were fully lopsided or otherwise. But on the second thought, where I said, I would say no. No, in the sense that competency is one thing I should do. Chuka, if I would ask you, If you were to be the president of this country, will you appoint your enemies? In the first place, the answer is, of course, a no. You won't appoint your enemy. You will only appoint those you think will be able to assist you, deliver that mandate, deliver to the people what the people desire. I tell you for free, if today the president decides to appoint people from the northern part of the country, from top to bottom, and our educational system is reformed, health system is reformed, enough food sufficiency in the country, our businesses begin to strive, there is electricity for us to use and do our businesses, honestly, I will give him kudu. I will ask him to repeat it again and again. I am not the issue of federal character. Suffices for me only when it comes to ministerial appointments. When you're appointing ministers, of course, at least a minister from every state of the federation. That is for me a constitutional issue. Going beyond that, you will begin to look at competence, and it's possible that you have about 5 ministries where possibly those who are tendered their credentials for purpose of appointment, those who perhaps have excelled and are most qualified to go into that office, may have come from one side of the country. Now, because of federal character, I will now begin to put square peg in round hole. It won't help this country. I will want to say again and again that there is need for us to give the president a little time, and let's see what is waiting to do. Don't forget, the president didn't just jump into the race. He's a man that has been planning to be president of this country for almost 2 decades. It means that he has prepared himself, he has prepared his grounds, he knows this country, he has an understanding of this country, and therefore, I think he's preparing to do the needful.
Last question, sir, because the time not so on our side, I'll just ask you, and to be so swift on that, sir. Judiciary, the hope of the common man, do you still have that back of your mind? And apart from that, what would be your advice for these ministers, and what would be your advice for the government in general?
I contested an election some time back. I was in the tribunal, and it didn't go my way. And what will I have done? It was my mistake in Kogi. Of course, I left it. I wouldn't have used that opportunity to say, because it didn't go my way, the hope is lost in the judiciary. No. My advice to Nigerians is that each time there is an election tribunal or cases, let us give the judiciary the benefit of the doubt. It is all about argument, whether it is for you or not for you. What your lawyer presents is what matters. Then to the ministers, I think the ministers are on their feet. They are doing what they need to do. By the end of the year, I am sure that you will begin to applaud this minister one after the other. But in a nutshell, we wish all Nigerians best of luck.
Thank you very much, Honorable Adaji, for seeing to us as we come. Thank you very much, sir.
God bless you.
Well, viewers at home, of course, I've been with Honorable Usman Adaji. He's a political analyst, as well as a spokesperson for the All Progressive Congress here in the FCT. I'll be looking at expectations after the Supreme Court judgment. Hope you've been entertained, and of course, gotten so much insight as it concerns the issue of expectations after the judgment. My name is Chu Kaongohai, and the program Perspective will come your way same time next week. Until then, it's bye for now.